Well, from food deliveries that are so convenient to other necessities that we realize are so important, the impact of delivery drivers has been seen and felt during the pandemic. So the question is, how do we show them gratitude and leave a very generous tip when we can? Here's etiquette expert Diane Gottsman to talk about that with us a little bit this morning. Hi, Diane. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Good morning.
Yeah, it is so important to say thank you and really go that extra mile for those drivers who've been working so hard in the middle of this pandemic. So you've got a couple points for us to consider. And the first one, and this, I know you say this pre-pandemic in other areas, don't consider gratuity and these things optional. 15% in a situation like this is a minimum, and those in a position to give a little more should certainly think about that.
Absolutely. You know, Dave, and especially look at the weather today and yesterday, which is unusual for Austin, but we take other things in consideration. So delivery drivers are going out of their way to bring food to our door or supplies to our door. They're having to wear masks. They're having to oftentimes go into the store to collect our items. So take that in consideration. Take the weather in consideration. They may be on a bicycle in this cold weather. So when you can, be as generous as possible, but always give the bare minimum. And, you know, that would be 15%. And if you look at your tab and it's very low in terms of what you pay, 15% may not be very much. So, you know, always tip up rather than down.
That's right. Again, it's just such a nice way to do things anyway. But we've rightly called these delivery people, you know, frontline workers, essential workers during this pandemic, just like other first responders or doctors. They really have been putting their health at risk. And so it is important to remember those and tip up. Like you said, tip up on smaller tips, maybe go a little bit more, and maybe even some cash sometimes on top of something.
So, you know, we have an app oftentimes that we're ordering from, and there is a $5, $10 tip gratuity that is mandatory. It's not a delivery fee, that's different. But once they arrive at your door, if they have gone above and beyond, oftentimes they call and say there's a substitute or can I get this? Or so if they have gone above and beyond, if you feel like you should, certainly you can give them more in terms of cash, put it in an envelope if you don't see them. But, you know, even if you don't give them extra cash, maybe just to show gratitude for what they're doing, give back, maybe a candy bar, you know, maybe a bottle of water with a little note that says thank you. You know, it's just doing something special for whoever you're coming into contact with right now. And delivery drivers are really working hard.
Yeah. One other point you talk about is obviously life has gone on in the middle of the pandemic, and we have issues with plumbing or have a need for an electrician or somebody else who might need to come to your house. Those are jobs that maybe in other times we're certainly hopefully paying them very well, and they can be expensive depending on what it is. You don't necessarily tip in other times, but you might want to consider that now.
Yes, because they're coming into your home, you're expecting them to mask up, and they should. They're wearing certain kinds of socks over their shoes to come in. They don't really want to come into your house any more than you want them to come in, but it's a necessity. Your toilet is overflowing, you know, something is going wrong. So you might consider giving them extra gratuity or gratuity in general. You may not have tipped them before, but give them, you know, let's say a $10 bill. That's not written in stone, $5, just something to say thank you, please buy a cup of coffee.
Yeah, and then finally, a note to people at home asking for the delivery, and also the workers, always be courteous, and that goes a long way for your own sake in addition to the other person.
That's right. You know, they may be delayed because of weather. They may be delayed because the restaurant or the retailer was having some difficulty getting the order together. So give your delivery driver some grace. It may not be their fault that they're running a little behind. As the delivery driver, also be courteous to the person that you're delivering to. Let's say you didn't get the tip that you wanted. That doesn't mean you reach out and say something to them. You know, I think that we're all compromising and collaborating, and I think this is the time to really be aware of being courteous and polite.
Yeah, being courteous and polite. Again, these are all great tips, great pieces of advice. A lot of it will be in play once we get this pandemic in the rearview mirror as well, to be kind and courteous and polite. Diane, good to visit with you as always. We appreciate it.
See you soon.